This week's blogging video is all about stats, how we check our blogging stats, what we look at to use to check our blogging stats, the things that we actually focus on, the things that we don't focus on. Basically a roundup on all things blogging statistics and stats. I feel like statistics makes it sound wrong. Blogging stats. So I'm coming at you live in a very casual outfit. It's currently 8 a.m. and I'm so insanely busy right now that I'm like trying to just get as much stuff done as possible. So I'm quickly hopping on here to record this video, but this is such an important thing to know as a blogger, and I think it's extra important to know the things that you should be focusing on when it comes to stats, and then the things that you should not be or just not worth your time. And a little bit of background, if anyone's new here, I feel like I always need to do a little spiel. So I started the blog by Sophia Lee when I was a sophomore in college. It's now been 5 years. We just had our 5-year anniversary since I started it, literally last week. So I started it from my dorm room. I think I said this as a sophomore in college, whatever. And I basically grew the business around my full-time college schedule. Now we have an entire team working at BSL, so a lot of things have changed, but also a lot of things haven't changed. And the stats and the way that we check our stats is one of those things that haven't changed. But I remember when I first started my website, okay, sorry if you can hear a truck, that there was so much going on these dashboards of like these like where you could see your stats, and I had no idea what was important and what was not important. So basically that's what we're going to be going over today. We check stats every single week at this point. I mean, before I would check it literally every single day. That was like really good, but also probably really toxic. And so now as a team, every single Monday we have a meeting, and each person on the team is in charge of getting certain stats, and we analyze them completely through a KPI tracker. So that's like obviously really high level. When I first started, I was definitely not that high level. I'm kind of going to be going at it from like the not so high level. Like this is kind of what I've done from when I first started to also like what I know now and what I would tell you to do. So first things first, what we use to actually track our stats. So when I first started off, I had a plugin that was already pre-installed. Now I think you need to install it, but it's free and it's called Jetpack. And Jetpack is basically a really easy and simple way to show you exactly how many page views you had the previous day. So all it is a graph, and the only information, I believe, at least that when I had it, that it showed you was the page views from the previous day. This in the beginning was really the only metric that I looked at, and I'll kind of get into that in the future. But now, since we look at a little more advanced metrics, we use Google Analytics. So Google Analytics is kind of like the industry standard. A lot of brands will make you like bring in your Google Analytic information so that they can like really basically fact check you to make sure that you're getting the stats that you say you're getting. Ad agencies have access to it, and it's kind of like the holy grail in the industry for just seeing your stats. The thing with Google Analytics is that it's really intense, so it can be super overwhelming. And even like for me today, I will go in there and I'll be like, I don't know what half of these things mean. I mean, I know even like Sarah, one of the BSL team members, you guys probably all know her, she had to take a course in college on Google Analytics. Like, it's really intense, but what we've learned is that 99% of the information really doesn't matter. I mean, it's really cool, and I think that it's definitely noteworthy, and you know, every once in a while we'll go look and like get really nitty-gritty with it. So the only things that we actually focus on is website traffic / so like you can kind of see website traffic in two different ways. It'll be labeled as sessions, it'll be labeled as page views. Sessions are how, like, if one person comes to your website and clicks all around to different pages, it will only count as one session. Page views kind of accumulate like all the different pages that they actually clicked on. So your page views will always be higher than your sessions, but we kind of look at both of those, and I'll get into that, why we look at both of those later. Now at this point, we really only focus on page views. We don't really focus on sessions as much. We focus on time on website. We focus on where people are coming from and what the most popular posts are. So those are all things that you can see in Google Analytics. Remember, Google and YouTube are your best friends. If you have a question on where to find any of these, just Google it. It'll show up basically immediately. The reason why we focus on these different things. So website traffic, obviously we want to make sure that people are still coming to our website. Google has a really cool thing. We don't really look at this too often, but it's just interesting that you can see like the exact number of people on your website at a moment. Like in our highest, it'll be so cool because like at certain points we'll have literally like 500 people on our website. I swear I've turned off this volume like 5 times. I cannot figure this out. It's just interesting to see like at this exact moment this many people are on the website. But really overall we just look at page views from, you know, yesterday, or page views from the week before, or we look at like, okay, last month we had this many page views. And we track those so that in the next year we can kind of look back at them, see if we're on track for the same page views, if we're going to be higher. We definitely don't want to be lower, so we kind of use that. Then we can use that for brand partnerships. We can use that for us internally to figure out like the best time to do sales and different things like that. Then we track time on website. Obviously, the longer that you can retain someone's attention on your website, the better. So we look at this just to kind of gauge the overall attention span that we have of people on our website. Our goal is to make them stay as long as possible. So within our blog posts, we'll add certain links to other posts, or we'll just make it interactive so that they want to keep clicking around to see as much as possible. We focus on where people are coming from, especially when it comes to Pinterest and like SEO. It's just really interesting to see what is worth putting our time into to get people to our website. Besides direct traffic of people searching our website and directly going there, we're basically 50-50 between Pinterest and Google, and then like we have a little bit of socials. But what we found is that for people on socials, besides like beacons, which is like our Linktree type of thing that we use, people will like search our actual name, which is comes in as direct traffic. It's like not, I mean, I don't know. That's like a story for another day. The social world is like really interesting with getting people to your website, which is why Pinterest is so powerful, because it's just by far the easiest way to get people, easiest and most effective way to get people to your website. But we want to know where people are coming from. So we look at that, and then we look at what the most popular posts are, so we can make sure that whatever is the most popular post at that time, we are constantly updating it. We are making sure that it's the best that it possibly can be, that all the affiliate links are working, etc. etc. What we focused on the first few years, what I focused on the first few years. So this is where that sessions comes into play, because the reason why I focused on sessions so much was because I was trying to get into an ad agency. So I just posted a video a few weeks ago on the different types of ad agencies, and my goal was to get with Mediavine, and to get on a Mediavine you had to have a certain number of sessions, not page views, sessions. So I would focus on this so much to make sure that I knew where I was at with that, and knew that when I hit it, I could apply. If things were going down, I could kind of like rework my strategy. So that at like that beginning first year, especially, the sessions was like the number one thing that I was really focusing on. The one thing that we absolutely do not focus on, I don't think other bloggers should focus on this either. I'd be interested to see if like other people do focus on this, is bounce rate. Bounce rate, we actually want to be low, because that means that people are clicking on our affiliate links, which is what we want, because we want to make sales. And so that's always such an interesting like metric to me, because when I see it, I mean, like obviously our number one goal is to be as helpful as possible to the reader. Our other goal is to make affiliate sales. And so by having people click on the links, they're bouncing out of our website and going to those. So that stat is something that we've never ever looked at. I could not even tell you what our bounce rate is. Like, I have absolutely no idea. And the last thing, this is honestly the most important part of this video, and I wish that I had someone telling me this when I first started my website, and even like in the last few years, like just like rubbing my back telling me this. Your stats will go up and down. I always say a blog is basically a seasonal business. For us, we have really, really high months and we have really, really low months. Right now, as I'm filming this video, we are in a low page view time because summer is really high for us, and we're out of summer now into fall, and for some reason, not for some reason, we know exactly why, just in September, it's a low month for us. We expect that because we've analyzed our stats for so long, we know that it's low for us. We don't freak out, or we at least try not to freak out. And we know that in October, based on trends, it starts coming up all through the holidays, and then it drops again a little bit in January, and then it really drops in February and March, and then it starts coming up again through summer. It is not going to happen. I do not know any website, even like I'm trying to think like BuzzFeed, like even BuzzFeed, one of the biggest websites, has really high months and really, really low months. So don't panic, don't feel like a failure, don't feel like everything's going to SHIT if your stats go down. Celebrate when they go up and really appreciate all the hard work, but when it's low is the time that you really should be working the hardest. And I know it is the hardest to work then, because you're like, why am I working so hard when nothing's working? But it is working. You have to remember that everything you do on your website, it's not a quick business. It takes a lot of time. It takes time for Pinterest to pick up your stuff. It takes time for Google to pick up your stuff. It takes time for people to trust you. So you just have to keep on going. So that's kind of my little TED talk on stats, because it is, it can be discouraging sometimes to look at those, but plan in your head and know that your stats will go up and down. That wraps up this video. I hope that that was helpful. I feel like stats are a touchy subject because, you know, like sometimes it can just be like depressing to look at when you're putting in this much hard work. But like I said, expect the seasonality of it. Is seasonality a word? I don't know. And be proud of yourself when it is really going up. Also, it's important to know the stats that are important versus the ones that aren't important. For us, this is what we found at BSL to be important and what we found not to be important for you and your business based on your goals. You might have different metrics that you're looking at, but I think this is like a really good overall base for anyone that is getting into the blogging world. So make sure to subscribe to this channel. I post a video every single week on blogging. I also have a newsletter that I send out every single week, and on that newsletter I go over like any sales on products that I use within the blogging world, any like tips that I'm learning or I think that you should know. If anything is majorly going wrong, I put it there. I have 3 courses. I almost said 2. I have 3 courses now. The courses are so nitty gritty. They go over my exact strategy. I'm really, really proud of the courses. Especially when I come to this YouTube channel, I get really proud of the courses because so many people are so nice about them in the comments. So if you're looking to save a lot of time, buy blogging courses. This is another thing I harp on all the time, whether it's my blogging course or someone else's blogging course. That is how I grew my business so fast, because instead of me trying to teach myself for months and months and months how to do something, I would take someone's course and learn. I would take someone who's really successful in whatever I'm trying to learn and learn their exact strategy, morph it into what I need, and I would save that time in between trying to figure stuff out. So that is it, but I will see you at next week's video.